to our 17th day of Mindful March. Frank and I hope you're enjoying the sessions during the month of March, doing a class every day, whether it be an hour or a half hour. We're doing an hour class today, and if you're just joining in, get into a comfortable seated position and we'll get started in a few minutes. Happy St. Patty's Day also to everyone out there. We hope you have a wonderful day. And just get into a comfortable seated position and just begin to calm your mind and relax your body. Today we'll be focusing on back bends and also core. It seems like throughout the day we're always leaning forward or coming forward, and we never really have arch our back or ever go into a back bend during the day. So it counteracts the constant coming forward, working at a desk or a computer or throughout the day. So hopefully you enjoy the class and just take this hour for yourself. And just get into a comfortable seated position. You can either be seated on a blanket rolled up or a block or directly on your mat. If you're seated on a blanket or a block, it lifts up your hips and allows less pressure on your knees when you're seated on something. So just gently rest your hands on your lap comfortably and bring your shoulder blades back and down. And just begin to lengthen the spine. And then just bring a slight bow to your head. And focus on your breath, inhaling and exhaling, completely filling your lungs up with air and completely emptying your lungs. Take a deep inhale in through your nose and slowly exhale out through your nose. And if during practice any thoughts come into your mind, just let them pass and bring your focus back to your breath. And remember, this is your practice, so do what feels right for you today. And if a pose doesn't feel right, just come out of the pose and wait for the next one. We're going to begin the class with 3 deep inhales in through our nose. And we're going to just slowly exhale out through our mouth. So we'll begin. Your palms of your hands can either be facing down for grounding on your lap, or they can be facing up to receive energy. You just want to make sure you have a straight spine and you're grounding down through your sit bones and reaching out through the crown of your head. So take a deep inhale in through your nose, completely filling your lungs up with air. And slowly exhale out through your mouth. Take another deep inhale in through your nose. And slowly exhale out through your mouth, getting rid of any stale energy from the night before. And one more deep inhale. And exhale. And then go back to your regular breath. And just bring your chin to your chest. And feel the stretch up the back of your neck. And then slowly draw a line with your nose, taking your gaze up towards the sky. Take a few deep breaths here. Feeling the stretch in the throat. Maybe open your mouth a bit. And on your next exhale, bring your chin to your chest. Now match your breath to your movement. On the inhale, slowly take your gaze up. And on the exhale, bring your chin to chest. And then bring your head back to neutral spine, to center. And take a deep inhale. And on the exhale, just gently look over your left shoulder. And take a few deep breaths here. And then inhale back to center. And exhale right, taking your gaze over your right shoulder. Take a few deep breaths here. Inhale back to center and exhale. Now we're going to interlace our hands in front of us and just press your palms out towards the mat. You're engaging your hands here. Your arms are engaged. Now we're going to work on a back bend here. So just take your gaze towards your hands and follow your hands as you inhale and raise your hands up towards the sky. You're pressing the palms out and you're just slowly following your hands up towards the sky. When you get your hands overhead towards the sky, pressing your palms up, take your gaze up for a slight back bend. So your arms, your back is arched. Pressing your hips forward, pelvis back, and your gaze is up. And then exhale, bring your hands back down towards the mat. Inhale, raise your arms up, pressing through those palms, following with your eyes up towards the sky, slight back bend. And exhale, slowly bring your hands back down to the mat. Match your breath to your movement. Inhale, one more time, raise up, hands overhead. Slight arch, slight back bend. And then straighten your back, straighten your spine. And on the exhale, just bring your hands towards the left. Keep that right sit bone grounded. Your shoulders are stacked over each other. And you're just pressing those palms out towards the left. Inhale back up to center and exhale right. Inhale back up to center and exhale, slowly release your fingertips back down to the mat. Now we're just going to extend our arms out, really engaging your arms here, reaching out through your fingertips. And just begin to make circles clockwise with your arms, getting movement into the shoulders. And then go in the opposite direction. Start your circles small and then just gradually make them bigger and bigger. Getting movement into the shoulder blades, into the shoulders. engaging the arms, reaching out through your fingertips. And then bring your arms to stillness and bend at the elbows, palms facing forward. And inhale, just for a slight back bend, bring those shoulders back, opening the chest, lifting the heart. On the exhale, bring your palms and your forearms together in front of you. Inhale, open. You can take your gaze up for a slight back bend. Exhale, bring your hands, palms together, forearms together. If you can't get your forearms and elbows together, that's fine. Just do what's comfortable, working the shoulders. Inhale, opening, taking your gaze up for a slight back bend. Exhale, bringing your palms together. And we'll do 2 more. And when your arms are level with your shoulders, keep them there. And we're just going to place our palms facing towards the mat. Inhale, bringing your arms up, fingertips facing the sky. Exhale, palms facing the mat. Engaging your arms, engage your core here, pull your belly button in. Inhaling and exhaling. And next time your fingertips are facing the sky, leave them there. And inhale, raise your arms up overhead, lengthening your spine, reaching out through your fingertips. And exhale, bring your arms back, palms facing forward, bending at the elbows. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, bring your arms back down. Having a flat back, straight back. One more inhale, and exhale. Release your arms by your side, shake them out. And we're just going to go into a few seated cat-cows. So place your hands on your knees, comfortably on your knees. If you're sitting on a blanket or a block, you can take that out now. And we're just going to inhale, bring your shoulders forward, arch your back, and take your gaze up, pelvis tilted up. And exhale, tuck your chin and round your spine for cat. Inhale, come forward, chest forward, drop your belly, take your gaze up. Shoulder blades come back and down. And exhale, tuck your chin, round your spine. Maybe rock a little bit back, bringing your shoulders forward. Inhale, come forward for cow. And we'll do 2 more rounds and meet back in neutral spine. Getting the fluid moving in the spine. We're just going to extend our legs out into a wide-legged seated position. You can have a slight bend in your knees here. Your feet are flexed. You're grounding down through your sit bones. Lengthen your spine. Take a deep inhale. And on the exhale, just begin to walk your hands forward, hinging from your hips, keeping a flat back as long as you can. And when you get halfway, stop. Your hands are out in front of you. You might want to come down to your forearms. And just inhale, engage your core. And just take your gaze down. You want to try to have a straight spine here. Reaching out through the crown of your head, If you can't get your forearms to the mat, that's fine. You can be up on your hands. And you have a slight bend in your knees, not to hurt your knees here, and your feet are flexed. Take a few deep breaths here, pull your belly button in, engage your core, and just press into the mat, trying to lift your chest here. And then exhale, just begin to walk your hands forward a little more and see if you can fold and get a little bit deeper into the forward fold. You're lengthening here, and see if you can get a little bit further. On the inhale, come up a little bit, and on the exhale, fold. And then slowly come back up and walk your hands to center. And now we're just going to bring the right sole of our foot into our left thigh. You're opening up that right hip. So if it's uncomfortable for your knee here, you can bring that foot out a bit, or place a block under your right thigh if it's uncomfortable for that right knee. And then take a deep inhale, lengthen the spine, reach out through your fingertips. And on the exhale, bring that left hand down to your left ankle, left foot, and bring that right arm over that right ear. Keep your right hip grounded, reaching towards the left. You can have a slight bend in that left elbow to get you deeper into the pose. And just take a few deep breaths here. Make sure you're not turning towards that left foot. Make sure your shoulders are stacked over each other, keeping that right glute grounded. Take a few deep breaths here. And inhale back up to center. And exhale, release your arms back down to the mat. Hands back down. Extend that right leg out to the side. Bring your left sole of your left foot into that right thigh, keeping that left hip open. Really ground down through your sit bones. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead, lengthening the spine. On the exhale, reach that right arm towards that right foot, right ankle, wherever it lands is fine. You might want to put a bend in that right elbow. And then reach that left arm towards your right foot. It's over your left ear. You're grounding down through that left side. Take a few deep breaths here. Your gaze is straight ahead. And inhale, using your core, come back up to center. And exhale, slowly release your hands by your side. And now we're going to just extend our feet out in front of us for staff pose. Have a slight bend in your knees. Ground down through your sit bones, lengthen your spine. Take a deep inhale. And on the exhale, just begin to walk your hands forward towards your feet for forward fold. Take a few deep breaths here. And take a deep inhale, slowly come up. And exhale, see if you can get a little deeper into the fold. Try to breathe into your low back, releasing the tension in your low back. You're really trying to lengthen your spine here. Reach out through the crown of your head and relax that low back. You have a slight bend in your knees and your feet are flexed. And slowly walk your hands back to center. And now we're just going to bring the soles of our feet in together for bound angle pose. So the soles of your feet are together and you're just rolling out the arches of your feet. If it's uncomfortable on your knees, bring those feet out a little bit away from your body. If your knees are fine, you can bring your feet in a little bit closer towards your torso. And then just gently butterfly your knees out to the sides. Getting movement in the hips. And then bring your knees to stillness. You can place your hands on your ankles or on your feet. We're going to inhale and lengthen the spine. Bring your shoulder blades back. Lifting your chest, lifting your heart. Take your gaze up for a slight back bend. And then on the exhale, just hinge from your hips and come forward. We're not going all the way down. We're just going halfway. Stop there. And then engage your core and really try to lengthen your spine here, keeping a straight spine. Reaching out through the crown of your head. You'll feel the stretch in the inner thighs here. So, and if you can't get halfway, that's fine. Take a few deep breaths here. Then slowly roll back up to center and bring your knees in. And we're going to go onto our knees for gate pose here. And we're going to begin to work the core. So you're on your knees. If you need a blanket under your knees, you can put that under there now. We're just going to extend our right foot out to the side so it's parallel with the front of the mat. Make sure your spine is straight. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. And on the exhale, just drop that right hand down towards your right foot. And your left arm is over that left ear. You're going to feel the stretch in the left side of the body. Take a few deep breaths here. Then inhale, come back up to center. And on the exhale, bring that left hand down to the mat. If you can't get down to the mat comfortable, you can put a block under that left hand and come down to the block. And bring that right arm over that right ear. You should have a straight line from your right foot all the way to your right fingertips. Here's the block. If you can't get down to the mat, just place a block or a book there, which will raise the mat up to you. Now we're going to go into a dynamic movement here. So you can stay here and hold the pose, or if you want to add a dynamic movement, bring that right arm up straight towards the sky, raising your right leg, keeping that foot flexed as you raise it. If it's too much on your hip, you can just work the arm, or if it's too much on your shoulder, just work the leg. So just go at your own pace. You're pressing the top of that left foot into the mat, and you're just raising and lowering. And just do what's comfortable for you. You're engaging your core here. You're using the hips, the shoulders, keeping that foot flexed as you raise it. Be careful of the hip. So you're inhaling, you're lengthening. Exhale. And then next time your foot is on the mat, leave it there. And using the core, we're going to inhale back up, hands overhead, and exhale, slowly release your hands by your side. Bring that right knee in, and we'll do the other side. So if you need a block, place it on the right side, and take a deep, extend that left foot out, parallel with the back of the mat. Make sure you're lengthening the spine here. Engaging your core, engaging that left leg, pressing your right foot into the mat. Take a deep inhale, reach your arms up overhead. And exhale, reach that left arm towards your left foot and that right arm over that right ear. Feeling the stretch in that right hip, right side. Take a few deep breaths here. Then inhale back up to center. Exhale your right hand down to the mat or a block. Extend that left arm over that left ear. Make sure your shoulders are stacked. And you're pressing that right foot into the mat. You can stay here or you can go into the dynamic movement. So take a deep inhale and exhale, and then we'll begin. And then bring the foot up. Make sure your foot's flexed. Be careful of that hip. Arms engaged, reaching up. And then bring your foot down to the mat. Really lengthen that left side, reaching out through your fingertips. And next, hug your arms over that left ear and your foot's on the mat. Leave it there. And we're going to engage the core. Slowly come up. And exhale, release your hands back down by your side. And now we're going to go into child's pose and take a few deep breaths here. So your big toes are overlapping, your knees are mat width apart, and just shift your hips back down, back to your feet, towards your feet, and walk your hands out in front of you. Lower your torso down between your knees, and just take a few deep breaths here. Up to tabletop, and just press the tops of your feet into the mat and keep your hips over your knees. And we're just going to walk our hands forward for puppy pose. So for puppy pose, your hips are high over the knees, and just walk your hands forward and bring your forehead to the mat. If you can comfortably bring your forehead to the mat, see if you can get your chin and chest to the mat. This is a great back bend. This is a great stretch for your front and for your back here, for your shoulders. Take a few deep breaths here. Now from here, we're going to walk our hands in and go on to our forearms. So you're on your forearms here. And now we're going to go into a forearm plank to really engage our core. So we're going to straighten our legs and go onto the ball of our feet and really engage your core here, working on strength. If it's too much, you can come to your knees and flip your toes. You're still working on your shoulders, your arms, and your core, or you can go into forearm plank. Be careful of your low back. Make sure your pelvis doesn't drop down. You're strong through the torso, through the core, pressing your palms and forearms into the mat. Then come to your knees, and we're just going to push back to happy baby, or I'm sorry, child's pose. So push your hips back, and we'll just take a few deep breaths in child's pose. to tabletop. We're going to go into our first downward facing dog. So flip your toes, hover your knees about 6 inches off the mat. Really engage your core here. And then slowly begin to shift your hips back and straighten your legs for the first downward facing dog. You can pedal out your feet. You can go high on your toes. Sink your heels down a bit. You're pressing your chest towards your thighs, keeping the hips high. You can have a slight bending your knees for the first downward facing dog. And your head is between your hands, between your arms here. And now we're going to go high on our toes and just begin to walk your feet towards your hands. Then lower to the soles of your feet and go in, exhale, forward fold. Take a few deep breaths here. Your hips are high. Slight bending your knees for the first standing forward fold. Hold opposite elbow to opposite hand. Sway from side to side. And release your hands. And inhale, slowly come up, hands overhead. And exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, release. We'll take a few deep breaths in Tadasana in mountain pose. So your feet are hip distance apart, your weight's evenly distributed on both feet. Your palms are facing forward, shoulder blades are back and down. Your eyes can be opened or closed, and just take a few deep breaths here. Just bring your focus to your breath. And we'll come to the front of our mat, and we're just going to do a few rounds of sun salutations. So take a deep inhale, reach your arms up overhead, palms facing each other, and take your gaze up for a slight back bend. You're lengthening the front, your abs, your torso. And then exhale, turn your palms out and swan dive forward fold, keeping a flat back as long as you can. And now inhale to a half lift, a flat back. So your hands are on your thighs or on your calves. Your elbows are bent if they're on your thighs. Your gaze is down, and then take a few deep breaths here. Then exhale, plant your hands and step back to plank. Engage your core here. Your shoulders are over your wrists. And you're pressing through the soles of your feet. You can come to your knees and flip your toes to modify plank or hold plank. And now with control, you can come to your knees and flip your toes first, or with control, slowly bring your chin and chest down with your elbows by your side down to the mat. Flip your toes and press the palms of your hands into the mat and come up for cobra. So your toes are pointing back, and be careful of your low back, not to hurt your low back here. And you're just pressing your palms into the mat, lifting up your chest. Shoulder blades are back and down. Exhale back down to the mat. Flip your toes and push back to downward facing dog. Take a few deep breaths here. Inhale, look up between your hands. And on the exhale, step or walk forward to a forward fold. Inhale, slowly come up, hands overhead. Exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, release. We'll do one more. Inhale, reach up, hands overhead. Take your gaze up for a slight back bend. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back from your low back to the crown of your head. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to plank, engage your core. You can come to your knees if you want. Strong plank. And make sure your pelvis doesn't drop first to hurt your back. You can come to your knees or with control, keeping your elbows close to your side. Bring your chin and chest down between your hands. Flip your toes, point your toes back, press your palms into the mat, and come up for cobra. Slight back bend here. Exhale back down to the mat. Flip your toes, push back to downward facing dog. Take a few deep breaths here. Inhale, look up between your hands. Exhale, walk or step forward, forward fold. Inhale, slowly come up, hands overhead. Exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, release. We'll take a few deep breaths in mountain pose in Tadasana. If you want to get a drink of water, you can now. Anytime during practice, if you need a break, you can always come to Tadasana or to Child's Pose and just bring your focus to your breath. Now we're going to come to the front of the mat. And we're just going to step our right foot back, going onto the ball of that right foot. I'm going to turn this way. We're going to go into high lunge. So you're pressing through the ball of that back foot and you put a bend in that front knee. For balance, if you need to bring that back foot out a little wider for balancing, you can do that. The wider the stance, the easier it is to balance. And then when you find balance, bring your arms to goalpost. So your shoulder blades are back and down, and just take your gaze up for a slight back bend. Take a few deep breaths here. Then when you're ready, extend your arms up towards the sky for high lunge. Take a few deep breaths here. Then bring your hands to heart center, and we're going to drop that back heel down. So your back foot is going to be parallel with the back of the mat. We're going to turn our hips towards the long side of the mat to go into warrior two. So you want to make sure you can still have a bend in that front knee. You should be able to see your big toe. You want the front heel in alignment with your back arch. Your hips are turned towards the long side of the mat. And then when you're ready, extend your arms out, shoulder blades back and down. Engage the arms, reaching out through your fingertips. And then take your gaze over your left hand. For warrior two, make sure that back arm is level with your front arm. left palm up, drop your back arm, raise that left arm up towards the sky, slight back bend here, see if you can reach it back a bit. Reverse warrior, take a few deep breaths here. Now from here we're going to go into a dynamic movement. So we're going to bring our left forearm to our left thigh and raise that right arm over the right ear. So inhale to reverse warrior and exhale side angle. Match your breath to your movement. Inhaling and exhaling. You're going to feel this in the hips. And then next time you're in reverse warrior, stay there. Go into warrior 2 again, making sure your hips are forward. And then we're just going to bring that back hand to meet the front and step forward to Tadasana, to mountain pose. Take a few deep breaths here and we'll do the other side. Step that left foot back for high lunge, going onto the ball of that back foot. Your hips are facing forward, put a bend in that front knee. When you find balance, bring your arms to goalpost, lift the heart, take your gaze up for a slight back bend. And then when you're ready, raise your arms up towards the sky for high lunge. Bring your hands to heart center, drop your back heel down, make sure that back foot's parallel with the back of your mat. Turn your hips towards the long side of the mat. You have a bend in that front knee, making sure you can see your big toe. Make sure your front heel is in alignment with your back arch. Extend your arms out, make sure your back arm is level with your front arm. Shoulder blades are back and down. And take your gaze over your right fingertips. Take a few deep breaths here. You might have to adjust your stance a bit. And make sure your hips are squared to the long side of the mat. Then flip your front palm up, drop your back arm down, raise that right arm up towards the sky. Feel the stretch in that right hip. Still have a bend in that front knee. And now we're going to exhale to side angle. Inhale, reverse warrior. Match your breath to your movement. Warrior, stay there. And then come back to warrior 2. And we're just going to bring that left arm to meet the right and step forward to Tadasana, to mountain pose. Take a few deep breaths here. down to the front of our mat and take a deep inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. And exhale, plank. Plant your hands, step back to plank. It's your last plank here, so engage your core. Strong plank. Pressing through the ball of your feet. You can come to your knees if you want. Make sure your shoulders are over your wrist. Then come to your knees, flip your toes, and just slowly lower down to the mat. We're going to take a few deep breaths in crocodile pose. So your toes are pointed out to the corners of the mat, pressing your hips into the mat, and stack your elbows in front of you, your forearms in front of you. I'm sorry, not your elbows. And just slowly lower your forehead to your forearms. And this is also a resting pose, crocodile pose, and it's a really good position to focus on your breathing. So just take a few deep breaths here, calming the body. Go into Superman pose. So it's a process, and this pose especially, you have to listen to your body and do what feels right for you. You can just work on your legs if you want, or just your arms. We're going to work one side at a time and then go into Superman. So to get started, you want the tops of your feet flat on the mat, your toes are pointed back, and then you're just going to put your hands out in front of you and lower your forehead to the mat. And we're going to alternate sides. So on the inhale, we're going to lift our right hand and our left foot. So it's opposite arm to opposite leg. So on the inhale, you're just going to lift your right arm and your left leg. And then on the exhale, you're going to release it back down to the mat. And then on the inhale, lift your left arm and right leg. You keep your toes pointed, and you're really engaging your arm, reaching out through your fingertips. And then exhale, release. Inhale, right hand, right arm, left leg. And exhale, release. Inhale, left arm, right leg. And exhale, release. Now, we're going to do both arms and both legs at the same time for Superman pose. If you want to just do one or the other, that's fine. You're going to lift your head and chest up off the mat for this also. Be careful of your low back. We'll do one cleansing breath, inhale and exhale, and then we'll begin. So take a deep inhale in, and exhale, slowly release. And inhale, lift, toes pointed, legs engaged, pressing your pelvis in towards the mat, your hips towards the mat, keeping your arms reaching out and your gaze is forward. And exhale, slowly release back down to the mat. And inhale, lift, gaze forward. Everything's engaged here. And exhale, release. And one more, inhale, lift. And and child's pose. So your knees can be mat width apart for child's pose, but if that's uncomfortable, you can always have your knees together and come forward for child's pose. And also, if it's uncomfortable for your arms out in front of you, you can always keep your arms back behind you. And just take a few deep breaths here. Now we're going to come up to seated position and place the soles of your feet flat on the mat. And then just place your hands behind you. Your fingertips are facing your glutes. And we're just going to drop our knees to the left and then bring them to center and right. We're going to windshield wiper our legs out. We've worked our hips, our core, our back. And just let them drop to the side. And then we're going to bring our knees to center. And we're just going to work on keeping your feet together, knees together. We're going to lean back on our hands and just bend the elbows and extend your feet out in front of you, pointing your toes. You might need a blanket under your glutes here if it's uncomfortable on your tailbone. But we're just going to lean back and just extend those feet up. Your toes are pointed. Engage your core here, leaning back on your arms. You don't have a lot of weight on the hands, just leaning back. And then release them to the mat. You're drawing the energy from your core, and the energy is going through your legs to your feet, rocking back, pointing the toes, engaging the core. And then bring your soles of your feet to the mat. Now we're going to bring our hands to the sides of our knees. Your fingertips are facing forward. Your palms are facing the knees. You're engaging the core here. And then bring your hands back behind you. So with this, we're going to go into boat pose. So if you have your hands beside your knees first, you may find it easier, and then extend your feet up. And you really engage your core here. You're leaning back. You're drawing the strength from your core all the way through your feet, trying to keep those legs up, and then bring everything back down to the mat. If you're shaky, that's okay. Your muscles are working. You're engaging your core, your legs, your arms, everything's engaged here. So we'll do one more. We'll take a deep inhale and exhale. And then extend your arms out beside your knees, and then begin to straighten your legs. You're leaning back for balance, to counterbalance, and you're using your core and working the legs. Point your toes, and then bring everything back down to the mat. We're going to windshield wiper our legs again, so your feet are hip distance apart, and just let your knees fall to the sides. Come to stillness, and we're just going to slowly lower down to the mat. Hug your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. place your knees on the mat or your feet on the mat, hip distance apart, as close to your glutes as you can get them. Your heels, see if maybe you can touch your fingertips to your heels. Your palms are on the mat beside you. Your knees are forward. Don't let your knees fall out to the sides. Tuck your shoulder blades under. And we're going to go into bridge. So take a deep inhale. Press your soles of your feet and palms into the mat and shoulders. And just gently lift your hips up towards the sky. And when you get up there, see if you can walk your feet towards your shoulders a little more. You can go up on your toes. You can interlace your fingers behind your back. You're squeezing your glutes here. Take a few deep breaths. You can interlace those fingers behind your back or just place them on your low back. And then release your hands. Come back to the soles of your feet and slowly lower back down to the mat. Hug your knees into your chest. Rock from side to side. And then bringing your feet flat on the mat, hip distance apart. Bring that right ankle over that left knee. Extend your arms out to the sides. Tee your arms out. Take a deep inhale, and on the exhale, just begin to roll on that left hip, bringing your right foot down to the mat, keeping your shoulder blades flat on the mat, and taking your gaze over your right hand. Take a few deep breaths here. Then come back up to center. Bring your right foot back down to the mat. Bring that left ankle over that right knee. Take a deep inhale in, and on the exhale, just begin to roll on to that right hip, bringing the left foot down to the mat. Keeping the shoulder blades flat on the mat, and just take your gaze over your left hand. Take a few deep breaths here. Then inhale back up to center. Release your foot back down to the mat. Bring your arms back down by your side. Hug your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. And then when you're ready, extend your feet up towards the sky for legs up the wall. You can point and flex your feet. If you have shoulder stands in your practice, you can do that now. We did a class on just shoulder stands and plow. So if you want to get into shoulder stands, bring your knees towards your chest, begin to lift. You want to keep your head straight, your neck straight, your spine straight. You don't want to move your neck at all. But you roll up, bring your hands to your low back to support your low back. And then when you're ready, if you're comfortable here, keeping your neck straight, your head straight, you can extend your feet up towards the sky for shoulder stands. So your weight is on your shoulders, on your arms. Your hands are protecting your low back. You're pulling your tailbone in. You should have a straight line.
And it's a process, it's work. And then bend your knees towards your head and slowly roll down, back down to the mat. Hug your knees into your chest, rock from side to side. And then extend your feet towards the sky with your knees bent. Hold the outsides of your feet or your big toes for happy baby. So your elbows are inside your knees are bent, and your feet are facing the sky. Hands are on the big toes or outsides of your feet. And you can rock from side to side if you're comfortable. And then hug your knees into your chest. And then extend your legs long on the mat. Let your feet fall out to the corners of the mat. Tuck your shoulder blades under. Place your arms a little bit away from the body, your palms facing up. If that's uncomfortable, you can have your palms facing down. Gently close your eyes. Relax your forehead. Relax your eyes. Remove your tongue from the roof of your mouth. Relax your shoulders, your upper arms, your forearms, all the way to the tips of your fingers. Relax your chest, your abdomen, your hips. Relax the front of your thighs, your knees, your shins. Relax your ankles, the tops of your feet, all the way to the tips of your toes. Relax the soles of your feet, the backs of your calves, the backs of your thighs. Relax your low back, mid back, and upper back. Relax the back of your shoulders, the back of your neck, all the way to the crown of your head. Continue your breath past the crown of your head, all the way past the tips of your toes. A continuous flow of air. Begin to wiggle your fingers and toes and move your head from side to side. And when you're ready, roll on to your favorite side. And with your eyes closed, come up to seated position. Hands at heart center, thumbs at your sternum. Slight bow to your head. Yoga is a journey. Thank you for sharing your journey with me this morning. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. Thank you everybody for joining in this morning. Happy 17th day of Mindful March. We are really enjoying these classes. Tomorrow is a half-hour class, so I hope you join us tomorrow morning. Have a wonderful St. Patty's Day. If you have any questions or ideas, please just send us a